I finally hear something.
Oh, Tim, it's David.
Hi, David.
Hi. I don't know how we're connected, and if someone must be on the switchboard, otherwise we wouldn't be able to be connected.
I just heard somebody.
So how are you doing, Dr. Tim?
I just heard somebody through the computer, but not through the phone.
Huh. Okay, let's see if you can still hear us. Are you there?
Yes, Michael?
Okay, yes, sir.
I can now hear you for the first time.
Okay, technical difficulties.
Well, I can hear you now.
I guess we'll start over again.
All right, because I can hear you now and I can hear David.
Good. So let me check with Jeanie and see if we had been disconnected that whole time. Give me just 1 second.
Oh, yeah, you were.
So you've been on the show since the beginning?
No, but I came in a few minutes ago and there was nothing, and the chat room was saying we don't have any sound, and I couldn't get it either.
Okay. I've been on since the beginning, and this is the first I've heard.
Well, I checked with Jeanie, and neither of you guys were on at the beginning, according to the control panel. But anyway, here we are. We made it. And our show today is about the ancient Aramaic idea of forgiveness. We welcome you to the show. I guess we've just lost the first few minutes, and our apology for anybody who's been listening. I didn't have the sound. We were here talking, but somehow it wasn't coming through. So it's day 60 of our celebration of Memorial Day, and to celebrate Memorial Day, we invite each person on the show to be willing to look at one issue that they're willing to remove that's based in the form of hostility or fear. And as we remove hostility or fear, we remove the cause of war. And that's our way of honoring those who have been murdered, who have been forced to murder, who have been maimed, traumatized, and brought those traumas home to families who probably were overwhelmed with trauma that was brought into their space. And we're looking to support the healing of the mind, heart, and being on planet Earth. And so if you're not familiar with our forgiveness conversation, the forgiveness tool is about how you go inside yourself and change the content of your mind. It has nothing to do with letting the people off the hook, because your mind contains any form of hostility or fear. Celebrate Memorial Day today. I believe it's day 60 of our celebration. Think about one thing you're willing to forgive. One reality you hold based in hostility or fear that you're willing to let go. And that tool of forgiveness is how you go inside and change what's happening in your mind. And the right-hand side of our website, www.whyagain.com, is where you'll find a link on the right-hand side that says download worksheets. The third link there is, the first three links under that particular link will give you all the tools of Aramaic forgiveness. And we join you and invite you to take on that challenge. And I understand that we have St. Jane on the line with us. Jane, how are you, young lady?
I'm fine, thank you. I couldn't get in either earlier from you. So, but I'm glad. Are you doing your show like you were from Heartland and in the class?
No, we decided, we tried that out for a week, and it really didn't work out very well.
Okay.
It was hard for people to hear, so we've let that one go.
All right.
We're simply doing the show as we have done it previously.
Hello?
So we're here with any thoughts. What's on your mind today, Jane?
Well, I hadn't really thought about particularly responding, but I did think about how helpful the worksheets are by taking, for instance, I'm going to sell my house, and there's some fear around that, just because. So
right.
taking a worksheet and letting go of that will proceed to helping sell my house a lot faster. I just recognized it when you were talking. I thought, oh, if I had one item, that would be it, and so that's what I need to do when I hang up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, you've got our support.
I know I do. Everything else is fine with you?
Yes, all is well.
Yeah, we ought to be getting some money today.
Well, actually, I got a tithe envelope from you yesterday, young lady. Thank you.
It came early. That's good. I mail it on Monday. I don't expect it to be there on Thursday, but I'm glad.
Yeah, it was very nice to have your support, and it is much appreciated.
I know that. I really
crazy economic times.
It's interesting, and I have a question. Yes. Matter of fact, I brought it up before, but when I called Unity, they've laid off a whole lot of people, and yet one of the basic principles they teach is prosperity. But my feeling is if everybody buys into the fact that things are bad, they keep projecting things are bad, guess what we get? Things are bad.
Yes.
So I would like to support people into saying the opposite, that there was a booklet out that Unity put out called Prove Me Now. And it was about all kinds of small little book about incidents. For example, there was no apartments in New York at all, but this one person who had principles said, yes, there is. The perfect one is there for me, and it was. And I'd like to see more of that in all of us, to stop buying into what can't be. Like I can't sell a house at this time. Well, yes, I can. Because I'm creating this, am I not?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, in other words, what I'm suggesting is that perhaps we need to join in more of that kind of thinking. And I know you're in favor of that, I'm
in
sure.
absolute agreement.
Yeah,
I'm in absolute agreement, yeah.
Yeah, he's on, I'm sure. And if we just two of them are together in my name and we change the concept, perhaps we can do something, really great here. Okay.
It's certainly time to do something really great, and I'm with you in doing that. And
okay. All right. Well, anyway, when I get off, I'm going to do a worksheet, and thank you very much. I like the program where you went through it all on the air. I thought that was real helpful.
Awesome.
Fabulous. Okay, over and out. Love you, Jeanie.
All right. We love sharing the planet with you.
Thank you. Me too. Bye.
Bye-bye. So the creative process, and if you go to the ancient Aramaic, they told us how the creative process works. It says, here it is, folks. Take care of the heart for great are the issues in life. That is, take care what you hold. That heart in the modern English language, when brought accurately out of the Aramaic, would be the dissociated mind or the unconscious. That it's time for us to take care of that which we've chosen to remain oblivious to, that which we've chosen to remain unconscious of. And as we decide to become conscious and we decide to change what's happening inside of us, we begin the change of everything that's happening around us. And it's time, with all the crazy stuff going on the planet, to change what's happening around us, for sure. We start out as human beings, as love. How do we end up in the craziness? Well, in the ancient teachings, they'd say you were bound by the servants in your own household. That is, those things that were meant to serve you, thoughts and feelings, have become the things that run you and dictate your behavior, your thoughts, your feelings. And as you choose to take charge of them, instead of having them take charge of you, then everything, all the patterns become changeable. And that's where forgiveness comes in. It's the how of changing the patterns that are unlike a human life, unlike love. And everybody who holds a newborn knows exactly what human life is. And we're here to support you in having that full-blown direct experience of a human life, as humans were designed to have. and removing everything that's unlike that human life. So our call number, not cell, but our call number, if you choose to call in, is area code 954. No, wrong one. 646-200-4169. 646-200-4169. Call us. Let us know what your thoughts are about what we're speaking of. And we support you. What assistance do you need with the tools for healing? And how can we support you in using those tools? 646-200-4169. We are absolutely here for your support. Dr. Tim, David, anything exciting in your world?
Are you there?
I am. Yes, sir.
Well, things are just cooking along here. We had a very, very good group on Tuesday night, and it led to some more discussions and people contacting me yesterday with very nice responses. And aside from setting heavy rain totals for the month of July, for record rain totals for the month of July in Chicago, we're doing quite well. We're doing our work, and we're supporting Jane in her idea to focus on the positives, because there's always going to be plenty of negatives, but what we focus on, we resonate with, we bring more of that into our lives. So,
sure. And if we're focused on the negative, it seems like, with the way the world has taught us, there's not really much of a solution anywhere until you recognize that there's a tool called forgiveness. And forgiveness is a tool that changes the content of the mind and removes the patterns that have been going on for too many generations, patterns based in all different forms of hostility and fear. We're here to support you in changing that, in healing, and we'd love to have your questions. 646-200-4169. Give us a call.
is David still on?
I am on, Michael. I don't know how this is coming through. You receiving me, it's a little broken for me to be receiving you right now.
Well, I can hear
David.
David.
You're breaking up too much. I can't hear you.
Okay, I can hear David, so I think it's Michael's phone.
Okay. So that's what it might be. You might want to check my and it's a little sporadic coming in from your end.
Okay. Then if you guys can hear each other, would you take it for a minute? Let me see if I can get to a place where I have a better sense.
So what's on your mind, David?
Tim, it's really fascinating, the process of how this energy moving, people doing their work. Ari, the chef from Chicago that comes here and spends some time, and he plans to be here in the next next week or so, and he made an agreement. To me, everything is about making agreements and keeping my agreements. I was told several years ago, 20-some-odd years ago, to the degree that I'm willing to keep my agreements is the degree that my life works. And Ari made an agreement that he would do a minimum of 5 worksheets a day for the next, at that particular time, he began it at the beginning of our intensive, and he agreed to do minimum of 5 worksheets a day, and to breathe 5 minutes in the morning and the evening for the 9 days of the intensive. He completed that on Tuesday, and he's begun again, and he's seeing quite a shift in keeping that agreement. He also makes the agreement to contact me each day after he's completed them. So in resonance of that, I was speaking with one of my sons this morning, Ryan, and Ryan came up and he agreed to a minimum of 1 worksheet a day and to breathe 5 minutes a day, which to me is a reflection of everything that's going on energetically. And I find it very rewarding and supporting of being connected with people that are willing to make an agreement and then keep the agreement, which is what's going on here at the Heart Center at Heartland with the participants that are here. They all have made an agreement to do a minimum of 5 worksheets a day and doing some additional work. And based on that and their level of commitment in doing that creates the results, the value that they want to receive from being here. So it all begins with making that commitment. You know, there's a statement made that you've heard me say before, you might have, Tim, that nothing happens without commitment. With commitment, anything's possible. So I invite the audience there, if they're wanting to call in, at 646-200-4169, and maybe get some feedback, some input on what that is like and what happens when we make an agreement and we keep it, and when we make an agreement and we refuse to keep it, because it is a refuse to do whatever it is that we commit to do, and how that has an effect. So anyway,
David, we do have a caller. We do have a caller. Jeanie, if you want to tap them in, area code 607.
607. Who are you? Hello?
Hello, 607. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Just so you guys know,
where are you calling from?
It's Richard in Ithaca. How you doing?
Hey there, young man. We got your message that you got home safely from the intensive. That's awesome.
Yeah, I made it safely. I had a little incident I stopped to get something on the way back, and we had some difficulties, and I let my anxiety get to me and anxious about getting one back on the road so I could get home, and had some tightness in my chest and stuff like that, and so as I was leaving and all that stuff, I kept being concerned about this tightness in my chest, and it must have been 6 hours before I said, okay, just breathe, come on, you get back to breathing. And so once I breathed, I breathed through it, so it was great. Did you hear me?
So you were able to let it go.
What's that?
I say, so you were able to let it go.
I was able to let it go, but what was interesting was when I finally let it go, it was like 6 hours after the incident had occurred. I'd been driving and stuff like that, and a cat meowing in my back because I stopped and picked up my niece's cat to bring home with me, and I started a little experiment when I left because when you first got in the car and you're driving through the traffic and all that stuff, and the cat's meowing like crazy, and then finally I said, okay, what if I just start calming down and let myself calm down, and what will happen with the cat? And the cat actually calmed down. It was pretty interesting, and then and went to sleep at some point. But then, of course, as things come in, you get into traffic and stuff like that, obviously your body gets all, wary and things like that about what's going on. And so, of course, the cat would start meowing again. So it was pretty interesting, the effect of being able to calm down and let the cat calm down, too,
Intimidator.
I was going to say, I did a CAT scan yesterday of my thoughts.
So now you are the cat whisperer.
The cat whisperer. There you go. So how's everything going with the intensive? What's the next phase?
Oh, it's doing fabulous. We really the first night with right after you had left with it was like we were sitting around going, but wait a minute, someone's not. Where's Richard? And we've taken it to another level in processing. We had a little breath session last night, and through all of that, it's going very well. It's going very well. We're getting ready to begin again at 2:00.
Well, I really missed the work that we did with the hands-on work. I definitely have experienced some changes from that. And it's like, gee, I wish I could experience this, once a week, once a month, or whatever. From it was amazing work, and I wish I could experience the hands-on work more often.
Well, of course, Richard, you know that proverb that we offer from Africa: if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So your task now, should you choose to achieve it, is to gather yourself a team.
There you go.
Who are willing to work, move through, and support you in the process.
Great.
So basically what this work has been about for the last 40 years. When I first started to work with it and discovered the whole idea of forgiveness, it was then let's do what it takes to move through what never belonged. Move to the next level.
Great. So yeah, just so you guys know, you guys are still breaking up, and it's hard to tell whether you guys are actually hearing me because I have to wait to hear you respond. So.
Yeah, we seem to have a delay that's a little bit abnormal, so I don't know exactly what's going on, Richard.
Okay. Well, anyway,
we can't hear you.
Okay. Well, continue on. Take care, and God bless you and all that. We'll see you sometime soon.
Okay. Blessings. Thanks for the call, Richard.
Bye-bye.
So, Tim, can you hear me now? We're doing this breaking up kind of thing, which is a little crazy.
Yes, Michael, since you came back, you've been more clear.
Oh, good. Okay.
And
wonderful.
I could hear that exchange. I could hear David, and I could hear Richard.
Cool. Fabulous. And David, it's awesome to hear that your son is jumping on board and saying, I'm going to do my work. I'm going to tap in. That's clearly the thing that makes the difference in a life, is one doing one's work. And, of course,
what's wonderful about it for me, Michael, is the fact that based on other people's involvement, opens up the space for that to happen. We were talking yesterday at the intensive about all of a sudden if I cut myself, cancel the image, then how does this heal? What happens? How does it even work? And there's lots of people will say, well, this happens. And the truth, my truth of it is that I really don't know how it happens. It just happens. And I do know that as I do my work, and as I support other people in doing work, then there's an energetic connection with other people for them to do it. And I believe that that's exactly what happened with when Ari took on the commitment, and then hearing from my son and other people here. Ari was commenting that because of his connection with the intensive here and contacting me daily about keeping his agreements, then he feels connected to this group that's doing the work, which in essence is, that's true. That is what's going on with it. So vibrational, energetic-wise, then that's the key to it.
Definitely is the key. For sure.
Well, in fact, what we talk about, without commitment, nothing happens. People had, the expression is, I'm going to do it. When are you going to do it? And the answer usually received is soon. I'm going to do it soon. Well, there's only now. It's right here, right now. And if whatever it is that I do this moment and the next moment adds to it, and so we encourage and invite people to take the action now. Begin doing the worksheets and or call into the show and or participate in some way like that so that you can resonate it within yourself and support other people in doing the same thing, which is what we all want. So then, next Memorial Day, we'll have relieved and let go of anger and hostility, which then will dissipate it all over the world.
It is the way that the whole game is going to change when we decide to take charge instead of being bound by the past. And, you go to the ancient Aramaic, this is, look to the lives of the fathers, for ours are but a shadow of theirs upon the earth. And if we're just playing out those shadows, then we get to create a household, we get to create a family system that plays out just like the family system we came from. And we're not designed to just play that out. We're designed to take our lives to another level, to do something different than that. And that's what we're here to support everyone in doing, is to take things to a different level. And it's quite an exciting process to do that. And, of course, what do you have to face to do that? Well, you only have to face everything inside of you that is unlike love, every form of hostility or fear. And most people say, well, gee, is it possible to go that far? I mean, that just sounds extreme. Well, no, nothing extreme about it. It's just a process. It's work that needs to be done. So are we willing to do the work that it takes to move our lives to the next level and get out of the generational patterns? How do we start out as a human being, as the absolute awesome presence of love, and end up in all sorts of hostility or fear? We're impaled by these generational assaults. And each of these assaults that we experience in our lives resonate internal family and genetic patterns. And if that pattern is not based on love, a mindset or an attitude of fear and or hostility develops and takes over. And, of course, you ask yourself the question, have I ever done anything against my own will and choice? How could you do something against your own will and choice? That just makes no sense. Well, here's how you do it. You hold something that's less than love. And if you hold something that's less than love, then you're going to end up meeting someone who plays that out with you. And you have the opportunity to forgive, to remove those patterns. And as you remove those patterns, life gets to be a whole different game. And we're here to support you in making it a whole different game. The game is live as the active presence of love. Live as a human being. Move past the hostilities and fears into a life literally, truly, totally based on love. And yesterday we talked a little bit about the Beatitudes, and in Aramaic, the opening of each of the Beatitudes starts with the word that begins with the word tuv, and it's an attitude of mind. And if these attitudes of mind that have played out for 1,000 generations take us over, then we end up doing things against our own will and choice. You might remember Paul who says, why is it the things I would do, I cannot do, and the things I would not do are what I do? It's time for us to make change. And the change we're inviting it to do is that of literally removing everything in you that's unlike your human life. Everything that is unlike love. And for many, that sounds like an impossibility. How could you do that? That's just not possible. Well, here's how you do it. Step one, begin forgiveness. Take the worksheet, pen to the paper, and begin to change every reality in your mind that is unlike your human life. Everything that is unlike being. And, stop buying into the nonsensical, absurd thoughts about that our culture gives us about ourselves, life, the world, our bodies, sex, the future, danger, the economy. Just about everything in the culture is fear-based. If we unconsciously replicate generations of behaviors or develop behaviors based on these insane thoughts and ideas, then we end up getting lost in those generational dynamics. We can support and change it. If we take on this non-being identity, this self based on hostility or fear, we literally become functionally dead as human beings. And we function out of energies that never should have been in a human form in the first place. These unconscious dynamics are the destroyers of human life. They become the norm in our culture, and the culture says, but these are the things that will keep you safe, and these are the things you need to make it. excuse me, they're the very things that destroy us. Press undo those destructive dynamics. So we've got behavior, thoughts, feelings, attitudes based in love. Behavior, thoughts, feelings, attitudes based in hostility or fear. Are we ready to forgive everything based in hostility and fear? And to only function out of the presence of love? That's what we're here to support you with. Question?
Michael?
Yes, sir.
We had Joe from the chat room from yesterday who was doing some worksheets about fear, and he says that has been doing worksheets for a couple of weeks now on hostility and fear, and the issues are moving. And he says that he thought listening in on the intensive was good. It really helped him. The audio needs some work, but he was really getting value from watching, listening, being tuned into other people clearing their issues. And his insight is that he cannot stop doing this work. And so he says he's right.
Well, there was a guy 2,000 years ago who said it this way: once you put your hand to the plow, there's crazy glue on the handle. You can't stop. It's our purpose to do, and then we're going to definitely do it. But I certainly hear that, Joe, and I'm delighted that it's serving. I'm delighted that it's supporting you. We did decide to stop doing the show live from the intensive because we had so many sound challenges there. We are kind of out in the boonies. We just got back here a week or so ago. We've run into a number of challenges to doing this from Heartland, and we're working on resolving those challenges, but they're not yet resolved. So we're just kind of moving forward the best way we can to take forward what we can do. So we're probably not going to do the rest of the shows as we had originally planned from the workshop line, unfortunately. I wish we could.
Well, maybe that'll resolve itself by next season.
Yeah, we're actually looking at some possibilities and ways to bring in better signals, better internet connection and such. So if that happens, that will be so. And we've also got a cell phone provider that says they're upgrading service material. There's actually a full-page ad in our local paper. So hopefully that will help you move things forward.
Well, Joe also writes, here's a good one. Why would I want to go into my hostility and fear? That's scary stuff. But I can't stop, he writes. I have found that to be the case. The more worksheets, the more tears, fears, and breathing.
Well, if you go back to that Aramaic statement, let's expand the Aramaic statement that says, take care of the heart, for out of it are the issues in life. That statement sounds like kind of a bleeding heart statement, take care, But what it was really saying was, if you look at your unconscious dynamics, that's what runs your life. So when we refuse to look into our unconscious dynamics, what happens is we get to play out those dynamics over and over and over again. That's the root of the why is this happening to me situation. So whatever I refuse to come into conscious relationship with runs my life. And most people think, well, if I keep it hidden away, then I don't have to deal with it. No, that's just fraud. That's absolutely untrue. If you keep it hidden away, that's the very thing that you're going to get to deal with next. That's why people are running around with this question in their minds of, why is this happening to me again? Or, oftentimes we'll get a call at Heartland and people looking for the book say, I understand you have this book called Why Are They Doing This to Me Again? Why? Because out of your heart, out of your unconscious dynamic, come the issues that you most need to deal with. And if you don't deal with them, then you're going to be stuck in those old unconscious dynamics. And we're looking to support you in being able to look quickly and easily at those unconscious dynamics. And rather than having the parameters of the unconscious dynamics form the shape of the output of the way you see the world, you go in and you change the unconscious dynamics, You broaden the way you see the world. And I use the example of a horse with blinders on. Why does the farmer put blinders on the horse? Well, he wants the horse to follow a straight path and do what it's told. If the horse doesn't have the blinders on, over to the left there, it sees the filly. Over to the right, it sees the food. And it's not very hard, not very easy to keep it going, plowing the same row. But if you put a set of blinders on it, you can't see those things, then it'll do what it's told. Our culture puts a set of blinders on it. From the beginning, when we come in, our culture puts blinders of hostility and fear. Oftentimes, unwittingly, unknowingly, and even unwillingly. And once you recognize that, then you get a chance to change what's happening in your own heart or your own unconscious. And as you change it, everything in your life shifts around. Keep the unconscious dynamics unconscious, and I guarantee the patterns in your life will stay the same. Whether they're relationship patterns, financial patterns, health patterns, doesn't matter. Probably the greatest atrocity done to us as human beings down through the ages, and that we've bought into, is that we've had hidden from us the fact that we are by nature creators. Once you realize you're a creator, what do you create out of? You create out of whatever you hold in you. If you refuse to look at and deal with what you hold in you, then the unconscious creation comes back and bites you in the butt. You say, well, why? What's going on? What happened here? As you become willing to put your hand to the plow, to go inside, take responsibility, and start to change those things, then as you rid yourself from it, you remove that which drives you to say and do things that are against your own will and choice. And as you do that, you become a conscious creator. Everything starts to change. So when we act out of generational loveless thoughts, we literally sacrifice our demons. And we see our lives through what Paul spoke about was the darkened glass. Through that darkened glass, we hold darknesses. We look out through that darkened glass. And we're sure danger and trouble are out there, and we're continuously calling for it by the fact that we refuse to face it in ourselves. I've shared a couple of times the work I did several years ago with a fellow named Marcel Vogel. He was a 23-year senior scientist from IBM. Marcel had the instrumentation in the laboratory with which to take a picture of the high-energy waves that lead to mind when we think the thought. Literally, whatever we hold in us sets up an actual, literal energy field. And that resonant field is what draws someone to play out with. And you can look at it from the reverse. Let's look at it from the reverse point of view. Have you ever walked into somebody's face totally committed to being loving, nurturing, and caring, and all of a sudden found yourself functioning like a bitch? We've all done that, right? What happened? Well, what occurred was, in walking into that other person's face, we walked into that unconscious dynamic in us. We walked into the very thing we didn't want to deal with. And when their high energy waves tapped in deeply enough to that which we denied and dissociated from in ourselves, off we went, and that took over. And that internal mad banshee runs our behavior. What we're looking to do is to put an end to that cycle by taking in hand your internal mad banshee. He's not pleasant. He's not fun to look at. He's not fun to be with. But when you take him in hand and you tame him, you remove the hostilities and fears that drive him, guess what? That dynamic disappears from your life. You're no longer calling forward somebody to play that out with you. As long as you're unwilling to be responsible for it, however, you get to play it out over and over again. And if we're stuck in hostility and fear, we literally corrupt everything that we look at, because hostility and fear are markers for corrupt data being used by the mind. And looking out from that darkened mind, everything in the world takes on the hue of our darkness, and it appears that everybody else has a problem. A really sobering question to ask yourself, if you're pained by all the darkness you think you see in the world, is this one. If they're the one with the problem, why am I the one with the pain? The world, when it appears dark because of our perceptual apparatus being corrupted by the presence of our own hostility and fear. So it's kind of like cleaning and shining the mirror up when you do your own work, when you're willing to look at the parts of you that maybe 1,000 generations of your bloodline never looked at. It's just been accumulating, one rage, one fear, one hostility after another. And if it's never been looked at, then when you start to look at it, it's quite a challenge. It's quite a task, and most people don't even want to start to think about going there. We're inviting you to go there. We're inviting you to own that part of your mind, to be willing to forgive it. Again, forgiveness. I'll let them off the hook. The worksheet that Joe's talking about doing is how I find the part of my mind that holds my darkness. How do I tell if it's my darkness? Am I feeling it? Well, but it was my partner that said this and this and this, and they made me feel that way. No, your partner may have said this and this and this, and if there were nothing in you to resonate with it, you just look at your partner and go, gee, what happened? But if you go into your own mad banshee, your own berserkness, that's your own. And so forgiveness is about how you change that, how you remove, how you forgive those things that simply didn't belong here in your life in the first place. So when we look out from a darkened mind, we darken everything we look at. And, if you look at the latest MRI imaging technology, it shows that the nature of so-called thinking is electrical. And to change thinking, incorrect stored information must be removed. That's called forgiveness. Accessing and removing old corrupted information from brain cells is a technology that was described in the ancient Aramaic language thousands of years ago. It was called forgiveness. Now, thinking patterns resist change, and people who held power based on the old fearful and hostile ways of thinking changed the definition of forgiveness. Forgiveness became, it's your fault, I'm feeling this way, I'll let you off the hook, I'll be nice to you, I'll be good about it. And that leaves the old painful ways of thinking in place. James Allen, the father of modern psychology, says darkness ceases only when light is introduced. So ignorance can only be dispersed by knowledge and selfishness.
Michael?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I was having some difficulty getting back in. It's like crackling, rustling paper. It's difficult to hear you. Could you read that last quote again and speak into the...
Sure, I will. There's no paper here, so I don't know. We're just doing the remote technology stuff.
Yeah, it's the static, but it sounds like rustling paper, Joe says, over the internet. So that last quote was...
James Allen, who's considered to be the father of modern psychology, says, darkness ceases only when light is introduced. So ignorance can only be dispersed by knowledge and selfishness by love. So originally, the tool for creating interchange and maintaining the essence of life, love, in oneself, forgiveness, became outer directed. They started to change its meaning and let's look out there and let other people off the hook. Instead of developing the ability to remove internal energies that, when activated, cause pain and create a distorted view of the world, a distorted view of ourselves and everyone else. So pain is a marker for corrupt energies that don't belong in the mind. And I suspect that the definition of forgiveness was changed so that the tool would disappear that allowed people to be empowered and allowed controllers to run their lives. Because if you want to keep people kind of low intelligence, low energy, just keep putting hostility and fear in their minds, and they'll become so burdened, they'll just become pliable in your hands. So forgiveness allows you to free yourself. Go ahead.
Joe was also tying this in with Chapter 30 from A Course in Miracles. He says he's making decisions all the time. That's why he does the work. And from that Chapter 30 in Course in Miracles, it talks about, if I'm in pain, maybe the best I can do is hope that I'm wrong. I have no question. I forgot what to decide.
Right.
So that's the other thing.
Well, and if you look at, the Course talks about how decisions are continuous. And it's a good thing to delineate between decisions and choices. A decision, if I say to you, don't think about the color of your car, what's the front door of your house look like? What's your favorite item of clothing? In response to each of those questions, which are really just frequencies coming from the vibration of my voice box, brain cells fire. And it's a pure resonance process that most of the world calls thinking. If I hit a middle C tuning fork on a desk and put it near a second middle C tuning fork, and the second tuning fork starts to vibrate, is the second tuning fork thinking? Not at all. It's just resonance. When I say don't think about the color of your car, it's just resonance. That's a decision. The decision in the course, what you'll find is the decision is the firing of brain cells in response to a stimulus. And the course says decisions are continuous. What we're looking to do is to introduce something that interrupts the decision patterns in the mind. We're looking to introduce choice. Choice is a spiritual faculty that allows us to go inside ourselves and change the content of our minds. Choice is a whole different process than decision. And as you make decisions, what you'll be engaging in is original creation. And my offering is that's what human beings were designed to do, to engage in original creation, not just to run the decisions of the past generations, not just to run the hostilities, the fears, whatever the games were of the previous generation. Does that make sense, Joe?
Well, I bet it does. It's right in line with what we were discussing and what I've heard you say before in the lecture from Course in Miracles. Joe hasn't responded yet, but I like that particular chapter because it ties in with your thing. If I'm in pain, I'm in error. And it talks about, at least I can decide I do not like what I feel now. Right. And then I can ask, if so, I hope I've been wrong.
Yep. And so I need assistance to decide differently.
Yeah. And today I will make no decisions by myself.
And/or I can introduce choice. Choice is the spiritual faculty by which we engage in original creation instead of just replicating the generational issues that have gone down. And if you look at the scriptural story of David and Goliath, of course that's thought of as a physical battle, but Goliath is this non-being mind that we're talking about that tends to run our lives. And David is symbolic of the spiritual being, the being that we are. And the 5 smooth stones, they were smooth stones because they were faculties that were practiced, and choice is one of the 5 smooth stones. And that power of choice empowers us to bring new things into the mind instead of just replay the generational patterns. And as we bring some new things into the mind, life becomes a whole different experience. It's like the difference of night and day. Any other thoughts from Joe?
He was just saying something about creating, to be creative, and to create.
Yeah, to create, you have to engage in your spiritual faculties. Otherwise, what the Course talks about is making, that out of the generational images and generational energies we join with others and we make crazy. We make things that, we make situations up, we create conflicts and such that just replicate the past. And, we refer to the so-called body's mind, the mind that is a function of this storage system, as the replicate mind. And that's all it can do is replicate the generations. And what we're looking to do is to awaken the spiritual faculty of choice and engage in original creation so that we create relationship out of being, out of choice, out of the active presence of love.
Oh, there's that key.
Whatever.
There's that key, is the active presence of love. And Joe says here, how would you, Michael, or you, Tim, experience knowing you're connected and choosing your creation? And my answer to that would be if I'm feeling that all-accepting energy of love, that vital life energy of creation, and that's my experience, then I would know that's what I'm doing.
The all-embracing presence of love is definitely key in the process. That love which encompasses everything. Doesn't mean that I have to go along with everything. It's just that I maintain that condition in my mind with everything that happens in my life. And then I've kept the gateway to a human life, the gateway to being open. If I close that down and get lost in hostility or fear, then I've given up my human life. I've literally lost my human life. And we're here to support people in restoring their human lives, in restoring the active presence of love, so that we function as we humans are designed to function. And it's an awesome privilege to join with and share with each of you in being able to do that.
Now, he only writes the word feeling, ?
Well, one of the best ways, Joe, that I know to get to that, to tap in on a regular basis, a good practice can be close your eyes, imagine yourself holding a newborn child. As you hold that newborn child, look into its eyes and smile. Let your smile warm the frontal lobes of the brain. As you warm the frontal lobes of the brain with the energy of your smile, you crank up a filter called Ryce from the Aramaic. That's the gateway to the active presence of love. And as you bring that in and you make that a daily practice, then as that practice becomes first nature, you become the expression of that active presence of love. And as you become the expression of that active presence of love, you create the best year yet of your eternal life. And our show is at a close now, and so we're going to sign off and invite you to bring somebody with you tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to MindShifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeanie, who present the internal Aramaic process of forgiveness. Michael and Jeanie are here every Monday through Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Earth Angels Radio. For more on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. That's www.whyagain.com.